Hello! Hello, hello, everybody. Okay. Bing bong, hello. Let me get the chat pulled up here. There we go. Man, I almost booted up Baldur's Gate when I sat down to start playing this. And that would have been it. That would have been the rest of my whole fucking day. Which is, I don't know, both a good thing and a bad thing. That game is so much fun. But boy, do I have a lot to do. Like, actually finish Parliament of Knives first. Should probably do that. The 2005 Microsoft Office was the one that I used up until I went off to college. Get on with that. All right, Spoonie. Okay, you're right. We spent almost the first quarter talking about anything but the game. We should get back to this. Let's see. Where was I? We had just, I guess, officially met our sire and the Banu Hakim, who waddled in very angrily. But this is Eden Corliss, our sire, the woman who turned us into a vampire. Oh, and we read this page, but I'll read it again as just a refresher. I would have thought the child would have more sense, Corliss says with a sniff. She spent too much time away from the court. Perhaps I should have taken a firmer hand with her. Thank you for informing me. Silas. Your honesty is greatly appreciated. Yes, so she asked us where we had heard about the rumor of the prince disappearing. Prince Arundel of Ottawa? I think that's the city we're in. It's either Ottawa or Montreal. I want to say it's Ottawa. But up in Canada. And we kind of spilled the beans that we'd heard this rumor from our older sister vampire. Scrivener Supremacy. I love Scrivener. And so this is her responding to us saying that, yes, we've heard these rumors and it was our vampire sibling. Do they even refer to each other as siblings? We've been sired by the same woman, but we're not, like, actually related. Oh, he still lives technology-wise. She looks over a sheet of paper on her desk for a few silent seconds before returning her attention to you. 2 missions, Childer. As my eldest is currently absent, you may choose the remaining assignment. Oh, you may choose, and the remaining assignment will go to Luca. That's our sister vampire. She holds up an index finger. First, the prince is meant to leave the city. If the prince meant to leave I gotta fucking read correctly. If the prince meant to leave the city in secret, it's likely he would take the sewers. He's far too recognizable. Many blue bloods would never consider such a thing, but Arundel never held himself above the Nosferatu. I need you or Luca to visit the Primogen, Bouchard, in his lair. Question him gently about any unusual activity he may have learned about in his domain. The Primogen is kind of like the leader or representative or like main elder within a court for their clan. So Bouchard being the Primogen and Bouchard being a Nosferatu, that means he's kind of the oldest or strongest or most in charge Nosferatu within this court. Whereas Corliss is probably the Primogen for the Malkavians. Maybe. Unless there's someone else and then she's somehow still Seneschal. Corliss holds up another finger. Second, I need one of you to speak with our elder, Ventrue, at her estate. Vivian Meyer was the last of us to meet with Arundel according to the prince's personal agenda. Anything she could tell us about that night could be vital to discovering the prince's location. I don't think of Luca the cat? I don't think I know Luca the cat. If you bully me, I will fold like a table. Nibblings. I love that. Yes, instead of siblings, nibblings. Because they're vampires, so they nibble. That's very funny. So we get to choose. Either we're going to meet Bouchard in person. We already had a bit of an interaction with him in the beginning of the game. Or we'll go to Vivian Meyer, who I don't know a lot about. Younger vampires are also called licks. Yeah. Yeah, licks, fledglings. Nibbling is the term for niece or nephew. Really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's very funny. Oh, Jesus. Really? I don't really have a preference. I think my first playthrough, I went to Bouchard. Thank you. How's Moglin? He's good. He got really whiny right before stream and was just being grumpy, waddling around, whacking stuff. So I picked him up, tucked him into bed, and gave him a few good pats until he started purring and laid down. I think he was just chilly and wanted attention. But he's fine now. Moglin just like me. He just like me, for real, for real. Maybe I'll go to Vivian, because the last time I did do that. Unless anybody in the chat has a strong feeling one way or the other. I too am chilly and wanting attention. Last time we played this. Well, you guys didn't play this. Vivian sounds like a... Sounds good. Oh, single hit. Go with Ma. Oh dear. I don't think Vivian is a mommy character. She's not leaving. If you're talking about Corliss, she's staying right here. She's got work to do. But we'll go. I'll hold a polite meeting with Vivian. She's more likely to respond with courtesy than brusqueness, as opposed to Bouchard, who probably just wants to get to the bottom of things right away. Although I do love Bouchard. He's a really interesting and, I guess, depthful character. Is depthful a word? Can you describe the character as being depthful? Is a lot of depth to him? I retain nothing of the plot. Deep is a very deep character. Yeah, thank you. Right, fucking depthful. What a god with words. Am I right? I wish I had like at least 2 brain cells. You set off immediately, not realizing until you're several blocks away that you're not entirely certain where Vivian's personal estate actually is. Then again, night is young, so it's still fairly likely that you'll be able to find her office on Queen Street. Or find her in her office on Queen Street. And those are easy to get to and almost impossible to miss. Your fingers itch as you grasp for a cell phone that's no longer there. Too dangerous, the prince had said in his decree. While some princes turned a blind eye to cell phone usage, there had been too many breaches of protocol in the city, and Arundel clamped down. Hard. In these days of the Second Inquisition, he was probably right. So what this game has taught us is that if you ever meet somebody that doesn't own a cell phone, they're a vampire. Regardless of what their excuse is. But once you're accustomed to having it, losing access to so much information at your fingertips feels like cutting off a limb. Yeah, deathful. Orange Cat Boy. Who? god of goblin. What? I'm very confused. Me? Why am I an orange cat? Orange cat brain cells. Are orange cats... I guess I shouldn't ask that. One of my best friends has an orange cat, and he is, in a new phrase that I made up the other day, mentally migrant. As you walk several blocks southwest, you're struck by just how many mortals are out and about on the street tonight. The city has been a hive of activity lately, and at least this close to Parliament Hill. It takes less than 15 minutes to reach the towering office buildings, secretly owned by one of Vivian's shell companies, through a means of financial wizardry you don't quite comprehend. Above the first floor, its soaring walls are a shining palace of mirrored segments, reflecting back the streetlights and silhouettes of ancient buildings. You push through a revolving glass door into a spotless lobby, its marble floors polished and shining. At the front desk, you're greeted by a member of Vivian's staff. They're called pumpkin pie cats. Like, I fucking love pumpkins, and I fucking love pumpkin pie. I actually, don't tell anybody this, like, as if you would, but I'm definitely going to sneak in a little gnome into my D&D campaign, and their entire character is just that they're obsessed with pumpkins. It's all they do. They get unnecessarily hyped about pumpkins. Violently so. What does migrant mean? Migrant? Like migratory? Like birds moving around too much? Moving around too much. Not necessarily moving around too much, but you are always migrating. Why are you mentally migrant? Because I don't know, my brain can't ever, like, stay still or hold on to more than one brain cell at a time. Good luck getting your hands on pumpkin. I know, I'll have to fucking make one myself. Can I sneak in that? Please, I have so many ideas. Yeah. No, I asked somebody else, and they said it's not as big here. To be fair, though, I think Halloween... Europeans' perspective of Halloween in America has been blown out of proportion by Hollywood, because the way I heard it described here kind of sounds similar, maybe just slightly toned down to what I'm used to. So I think it is not as big a deal here, but I also think they believe that Halloween is a much bigger deal in America than it actually is. It's not, but I go crazy regardless. Yeah, American consumerism. Yeah, right. There's also that, right? Is that all of our companies love to capitalize on it, so they make it a bigger deal than it really is. Speak for yourself. Oh no, I love Halloween. Don't get me wrong. I made one a few years ago. Pumpkin puree, equivalent of 6 pounds. Ooh, that actually sounds really good. They have canned pumpkin filling, like back in the States. That's all I need, really. It's a borderline religious experience. I love that. It kind of is. Greetings, Master. What can I do for you this evening? I'm here to see Vivian Meyer, you say. Of course, the young woman says, looking down briefly to check something on a computer screen. Your name? Silas Moore. Ah, yes, one of our executive clients. She opens a desk drawer and pulls out an old-fashioned Rolodex, flipping through cards to find your name. There we are. I apologize for the wait. What is this regarding? Halloween doesn't expect mandatory cheeriness. That is also true. Mandatory cheeriness. Oh, man. I have been in airports specifically so often during the holidays to go visit my family that the amount of bad Christmas music there is out there is, like, shocking. Oof. And the lack of Halloween music during Halloween time, outside of Thriller, the Monster Mash, and like one other thing always hurts me. I'll make sure to share my, my actual good Halloween playlist when October comes around instead of fucking Monster Mash on loop. Although I do love spooky, scary skeletons. What am I? Let me keep going. What is this regarding? It's a private matter. Simply inform her that I'm here. I've been sent to discuss an important business opportunity. That's a lie. I'm here under the authority of Eden Corliss to ask Miss Meyer a few questions. Why not just tell the truth? It'll make her see us even sooner, I think. Might make her a little suspicious, though. But at the time being, I don't know if we need to be worried about that. Don't you dare bring up Mariah. Halloween music is just screeching the maniacal laugh. That is not true. No, it doesn't have to be. Try working in a retail store. Oh, I can imagine, yeah. I'm sure they all have the same playlist. It's like 4 songs. Oh my! The young woman holds a hand in front of her mouth demurely. Demurely. Oh god. That fucking word is back to haunt me. Oh well. Might I ask about the subject of inquiry? You shake your head. Sorry, it's a private matter. It's not exactly what it says. The clerk looks disappointed. Very well. I regret to inform you that Miss Meyer is not available at the moment. I have, however, been instructed to inform our executive clients that she is available this evening at her estate. Shall I call a car for you? You wince in frustration. The delay is irritating, but at least Vivian has a system in place to shuttle her executive clients to her home and back. Yes, you respond. Thank you for the offer. The car would be very helpful. Exclusive. Oh, is it not executive? Have I been misreading that every time? Exclusive clients. Executive's close enough, right? What's the difference? Use your words. You orange cat. Oh, dear. The drive to Vivian's estate in Rockcliffe Park is rather pleasant. The driver knows how to keep mostly to himself, and you're able to watch the city fly by your window in a blur of streetlights and neon signs. Your destination is an affluent neighborhood, largely cut off from the poorer parts of the city by an abundance of native greenery and the Rideau River. I think I said that right. The home is surprisingly understated for a primogen. So she is also a primogen. After Arundo left, I guess that makes her the eldest Ventrue. Your ride takes you up a wide, semicircular driveway to approach a large 2-story house in light brown brick. Tall, well-maintained trees dot the spacious lawn, and a stone staircase leads you up past 2 potted ferns to the oversized doorway. I expected more of a mansion, Fade says. He's sitting in the seat beside you, buckled in as though he'd been there the entire time. Maybe you've just gotten so used to his company that you forget he's there unless he speaks. As my only language, English is hard. Not all Ventrue fit the stereotype, I guess. This is just one of her homes. I bet she has a dozen other properties like this or bigger. Does she really? What a spoiled... Ah, maybe she has a sense of taste. There's nothing more gaudy than a massive mansion. I don't care if she lives in a cardboard box. I just want to get this over with. This is just one of her homes. I bet she has a dozen other properties. Probably. You're probably right, Fade says. Show too much wealth in one place and it can draw the wrong kind of attention. I bet she owns a bunch of slums, too, collecting that sweet, sweet rent money from her cattle. He rolls his eyes. A butler answers the door with a raised eyebrow. Your name, master, he intones. Silas Moore, here to speak with Miss Meyer. I do not believe you have an appointment. It's unusual for kindred of station to be held at the front door without being offered an opportunity to step inside. Could this be some sort of slight? Fortunately, your name is familiar to the butler. Miss Meyer has recently concluded unrelated business. I shall inform her of your arrival. May I request you await her in the foyer? Fade clasps his hands in a display of mock sincerity, mimicking the butler's voice. Might I request you wait her in the foyer? Cut it out, you whisper. This is serious. Master? The butler replies. Sorry, it was nothing. Sorry, just speaking to myself. It's been a long night. Landlords hiss. I'd be a vampire just to own a house. Oh, same. Yeah, Fade is either a delusion or a ghost that just haunts us. It's not too obvious which one it is. But yes, invisible to everyone but us. The butler raises an eyebrow, but when no further explanation is forthcoming, he turns back to the door and leads you to the foyer. Leave this to me, okay? You mutter, low enough that only Fade will hear. I can't afford to be distracted when I'm talking with Vivian. Keep talking to me, and you're only going to get weird. Oh, Jeeves! Keep talking to me, and you're only going to weird out Jeeves even more. But sure, whatever. I'll ghost. Yeah, right, our butler knows about him, but doesn't see him. For some reason, I don't know why, I guess I fucking forget that vampires don't age, so when I hear an elder vampire, I think of a slightly older person. But this must be Vivian Meyer. Oh, my hair is poking my eyeball. You take a seat in the luxuriously furnished front room, idly wondering just how long you'll have to wait for your meeting. Luckily, it's not long at all. Vivian strolls into the foyer at a brisk pace before stopping directly in front of you, placing slender fingers on her hips, accentuated by a well-tailored white pantsuit. Imagine a newbie being 80 human years old. There was, in the other game, there was an old, a vampire who had gotten turned in her 70s or something, and our character even made a comment to themselves about how unusual that was to see. But yeah, right, imagine, because I learned you don't change how you look at all. And I even read on a little forum or something, like, even if you gain strength as a vampire, it doesn't show in your body. So if you are I don't know, like super skinny when you get turned into a vampire, that's how you look. If you are the size of a bodybuilder, that's how you're going to look. You can change your strength as you are a vampire, but it doesn't actually like show up physically reflected. Yeah, you are exactly how you were when turned, regardless of what happens to you. And any changes done to you, your body will slowly revert back to how it was. I think tattoos can't last in a vampire. Obviously, if you lose limbs or something, your body will try to heal. Everything about her appearance is designed to draw attention at a high-powered business meeting, from her dark hair tied up in a severe bun to the tips of her designer shoes. Silas, she says flatly, I assume you're here for something more than a social visit. It's not a question. What does Eden want from me this time? Hang on, fam. Before you turn me, let me glow up. Yeah, exactly. No biting until I hit my goal weight. Right. Yeah, wait. I'd like a few more tattoos before you chomp down, okay? Can we do this in like a few months? I mean, to be fair, I'm sure it also is completely up to your party and, there's one little fly in my house that I've been trying to get. Yeah, I'm sure it's up to your party and like the game master and everything. That was just one forum where I read that, but it's probably usually true. I fucking clapped. What do you... Imagine if you have a zit. No. Oh, no. If you're a Nosferatu, you're about to get a lot more of those. I'm not building a shelf and not keeping it for eternity. The way I jumped. Oh, dear. I get straight to the point. The rumors you may have heard are true. Prince Arundel is missing, and I've been instructed to speak with you about your most recent meeting with him. I ask my questions without admitting Arundel is missing. Thank you for seeing me. I'm here to discuss a sensitive matter for Eden Corliss. I have information on Eden Corliss you may find useful, and I'm willing to exchange it for information of equal value. Wow, that is fucking two-tongued as shit. If you're Nosferatu, do you get Moses? Oh, no. All right, moving on. No. I think one of these top two, but I don't know how much we trust her or should trust her. I guess at the beginning of the game, we don't know anything about her. I think the first one, right? Being honest and straightforward, probably not always the smartest with vampires, but hopefully we'll get that in return. We'll see. If she ends up being a bitch, we'll just withhold more information as the conversation goes on. But let's get straight to the point. Vivian's eyes narrow. My dear sweet child, everyone knows that those rumors are true. You're the sixth to come to me with this information on this night alone. Even Eden can't possibly think that she's kept the lid tight on this particular Pandora's box. It is well known that Arundel visits my home every Saturday evening to discuss mutual affairs over a refined meal. And with his absence from the court since then, it stands to reason I'd be considered a person of interest. Do you have any particular questions, or would you like me to go on about that evening's vintage? Our dear prince brought quite a treat with him that evening. A daughter of foreign royalty, she was a delight. I'm almost torn, like, do the vampires kill their prey all the time? I don't know. They're bonking. Imagine your face sliding off and holding your hands. What? Oh, I see, right. Fly or not? Foreign royalty. TM. Oh, face is rotting off. Did I miss something? Or do you mean for Nosferatu? Royalty. Doesn't that strike you as reckless? Let's not... I don't give a shit what you were eating, Eden. A high-profile victim could breach the masquerade. Yeah, true. Sounds like quite an extravagant evening. Were you and Arundel celebrating something? Why not? Subtly poke at the questions. Nosferatu. Yeah. Yeah, nothing about Nosferatu sounds pleasant. It's not supposed to be. And how did the prince's mood seem that night? Energetic? Focused? Distracted? No. Let's... Not too blunt. She didn't seem to like that very much. But I don't care what she was eating. I just don't. Whatever. As a matter of fact, we were. You wait for her to go on, but several seconds pass and no further information seems to be forthcoming. And what was the celebration about? You finally ask. Vivian sighs. We are discussing oil futures with a visiting Ashira from Dubai, and brought together quite a lucrative scheme. Having our fingers both in Ottawa and the Middle East has its advantages, and we have appearances to maintain. Up until recently, we in the Camarilla knew little about Ashira. They're vampires with rather strange customs, but their money is good, and sometimes that's all that matters. While the prince is an equal arbiter in all things, we are close after all. And thus, he celebrated my good fortune. Oh, Ashira is something I know very little about. I actually didn't realize that was a Vampire the Masquerade game, or name, until they said vampire. It's, all I know is that they're vampires from the Middle East. Kind of how the Banu Hakim came from the Middle East as well, but that's like the extent of my knowledge. The foreigners have a bunch of royals, it's all good. No one will notice. Oh dear. Key looks pleasing. Yes, Key is an exception. And he's got a secret to why he looks the way he does. He's the only Nosferatu, that looks like that. He is exceptional. How do we get to Sea Key? Oh, I mean, did we get to Sea Key? Yeah, we did. I could show you again, though, really quick. Notable kindred. Sheriff Key. There he is. Okay. I'm sure all these dealings were above board. We wouldn't want to attract the eyes of mortal law enforcement. I don't want to fucking baby her. She's just going to get pissed off. She knows that. Sounds like quite a big deal. Were there other kindred at your celebration? Why not? I'm not sure how much I care about that either. Peter! Mr. Kawaii. No, Vivian says flatly. It was a private affair. Only 3 of us and our tasty young morsel. I don't give a shit about who you were eating, Vivian. Stop trying to, like, tease that at me, okay? I really don't care. So the Ashira was present as well, then? Vivian nods. He was, in fact. But if Eden wants to talk with him, she'll have a difficult time of it. Why is that? He flew back home the next day. So unless she wants to break the prince's online blackout, she'll have to send for him personally. That could take weeks. You grit your teeth in irritation. Couldn't we have mortal representatives talk to each other online? You could, but it's highly discouraged. I'm sure Eden knows this, even if you do not. Alright, we should have seen Bouchard. I'm going to say it right now. Bouchard's interaction is interesting, and if you're nice to him, he's nice to you. Eden's being a bitch. Not a fan of this conversation. Alright, let's keep going. Even if you do not. Besides, my associate overseas is unlikely to respond in the immediate future. The Middle East is a dangerous place for these days. The Gehenna War is growing out of control, with so many elders being compelled, beckoned, to join the fight. It's best for us little fish to stay in our own ponds and reap financial benefits from the chaos, wouldn't you say? It has a thing for chat. Why is every person named Eden always such a... I don't know if I've encountered another character called Eden before. Funny you should mention it. Rumor has it the Prince of Runda. I'm not going to say that. She's going to tell me she knows and tell it to me in a way that's very rude. Making money on the suffering of our own kind seems like it would be a bad deal in the long run. It's also a pretty bad look. Sounds like you've got this all figured out, I say sarcastically. What I've figured out is how to survive in an increasingly smaller world. I suggest you do the same if you wish to complete your first century. Was that a threat, Eden? Or are you just down-talking me even more? There are many among us, she continues, who would have us believe that our prince has been beckoned. Yeah, see, I knew. She was ready to shit on me if I said that Prince Arundel was beckoned. God, we missed the Bouchard interaction. Oh, yes, please be jealous of my meal. Aren't you going to ask me what I'm eating? I like eating royalty. Yeah, well, I like eating rats. I don't actually. But potato, right? Isn't that the thing that happened to Leto? Yes, it is. Every elder at some point, the beckoning grows stronger the older you get. You've got the right idea. Yeah. There are many among us, she continues, who would have us believe that a prince has been beckoned, for whom this power vacuum could be more than a mere convenience. The validity of these rumors would seem entirely likely to one who doesn't know Arundel on a personal level. What do you mean, you ask? What I mean is that Arundel is not a man with a taste for war, nor is he interested in the politics of the Middle East. Alright, yeah, oh, but you're so fucking big and smart. The whole point of the beckoning is that it's an intrusive thought that you cannot control, even if you don't want to. It's not what you want to do, it is literally your elders subtly twisting your mind and calling you to them. You cannot stop it. Oh, you're fucking... Oh! If anything, he didn't pay close enough attention, which is how we ended up with that Banu Hakim in our city. You've met Kashif. Well, at least we can disagree that we like one guy. I don't know, maybe he's better than this, though. You nod. It's hard to forget the Vizier, Mr. Salak's entrance into Corliss's chambers earlier this evening. A dreadful business that cost Arundel, the support of the Tremere. Okay, at least I agree with that. Many seem to have forgotten the days of the assassin's wanton diablerie. I have not. I have a very, very long memory, child. I don't give a fucking shit. Ow! She reaches for a white fur-lined coat on a discreet hanger near the front door, clutching it tightly between thin fingers. I do hope I've been some help to you. She slips each arm into the coat delicately. Give Eden my best. And with that, you're dismissed. Offhand, as if she was the one to summon you. Vivian disappears out the door without another fucking word, and when you move to catch up with her, the butler slides into the intervening space like a goddamn ghost. Shall I inform the driver that you're ready to part, master? I tear off his fucking head. I don't know. No, you weren't of any use at all, Vivian. God! Oh, man! I wish I could just reload to show you guys the Bouchard interaction, because it's sweet. He even has, like... I don't know, I guess he has an insecure side to him. He's smart, and despite being a Nosferatu that is twisted and unfortunately very, I don't know, mutilated, he's kind of charming. This just frustrated me so badly. Hello, Sneaky Snatcher. Malcave forever. Yeah, that is what I'm doing. This is my first time with the Malkavian in this game. You have to restart the chapter. No. No, we did it. No going back. This is what we get. We're on a fuck Vivian run now. And not in the good way. Angry orange cat. That just upset me. Every little bit about that interaction. That would be excellent. Thank you. I don't want to speak with her anymore. Keeping your white wolf alive. The white wolf? I don't think I know that. I rather like eating rats. Like it. Yeah. Very good, master. The ride home passes in a blur as you ponder the implication of Vivian's words and boil from the inside out. She's been surprisingly forthcoming in places she hadn't needed to be. I don't think that's true. I think she's been surprisingly rude and told me nothing. And you remind yourself that everything, as someone like Miss Mayer says, you're reminded that everything someone like Miss Mayer says, and especially what she does not, is calculated down to the last syllable. You'll have to think critically before choosing what to pass on to your sire. Now just tell her the whole interaction verbatim. Why not? When you reach the city proper, you decide to have the driver drop you off on a slow-moving side street several blocks from your haven. The brisk air and short walk will give you time to think, to clear your head, to cool off, and avoid blundering into any hidden pitfalls. When two elders clash, it's their servants and childer that are most likely to feel the sting of final death, and you have no intention of being caught in the crossfire. I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. That was genuinely upsetting. Even if it weren't for your acute sense of time, yes, good old Malkavian time. Unless they just mean general vampires knowing what time of day it is so you don't die. That's probably actually what that sentence was. You can always tell it's growing closer to first light by the flow of energy in the city's people. The early risers purchasing coffee, the middle-aged wage slaves grumbling about work under their breath. Oof. Shops that were closed overnight showing signs of rumbling back to life. Sunrise will soon be upon you, and you should return to your haven before reporting to Corliss. Which will be understandable, given the lateness of her request. Fade still hasn't resurfaced. You're starting to think that he may be gone. That he may be gone for the night, though it's impossible to tell. It's the nature of your own particular beast, after all. Your personal brand of chaos. Can we drag her down with us? I won't spoil anything. I also, there's so many different paths that you can go on in this game, but we are, I don't know, I guess unsurprisingly, picking a very similar one to what I did the first time. So I have a feeling we will see the same, kind of the same results as I did the first time. I'm not upset, though. I had a lot of fun. So I hope you guys do, too. You're still a few minutes walk away from your building when a commotion erupts several blocks to the north. A rumbling, followed by screams, and finally gunfire. Past a squat office building, you see a faint wisp of smoke rising toward the heavens. There's no way to be certain, but you think that's the police station, Sheriff Key's center of influence. You can't be sure who is attacking the building, but be it an act of terror or a kindred affair. Be it an act of terror or a kindred affair, but an assault the night after the Anarch raid is unlikely to be coincidence. Especially after Key took a prisoner. Good, burn him. If Ward was willing to blow up the factory last night to throw Ottawa's Camarilla off his scent, it's not much of a leap to think he'd go this far to rescue an ally, or silence a waggling tongue. You're close enough to the commotion that you think you may be able to make a difference and help if Ward is involved. I forgot what our stats are. Dexterity, okay. Charisma, manipulation, composure. Once again, we are much more the social vampire. Are you playing Montreal by night? Basically. Is this... I can't remember if this is Montreal or Ottawa. It is one or the other, though. Is it Ottawa? Okay. Thank you, Loon. They mentioned it right at the beginning, but I forgot. We might be able to help just with a little bit of dexterity. We're not hungry. I think we'll have enough time. Parliament is in Ottawa. Oh, okay. That would make sense. Yes, because it is on Parliament Hill. Hence the clever name Parliament of Knives. So what are we actually trying to find out going to Eden? We're just trying to learn more about the disappearance of Arundel, and because the last person to see him was Vivian Meyer, we wanted to talk about that. And our other option was go to Bouchard, because there's a chance he could have escaped through the sewer systems. And Bouchard, being the Nosferatu, kind of owns the entire sewer systems. If I play this smart, I don't know if we're that smart. I persuade a mortal nearby to let me borrow his bike and zip through the alleyways. Why not, right? It's just a bicycle. You want my what? The young mortal asks. scratching his head as he looks nervously from you to the explosion and back again. He's a skinny thing. Couldn't weigh more than 110. Your bike. I need to get over there and help someone as quick as possible. He regards you suspiciously, and you play up your Good Samaritan routine. Look, he says, thrusting the bike at you. Just take it. On closer inspection, it's in very poor condition, and you have a feeling this will be its last ride. I was planning on replacing it soon anyway. You favor the boy with a nod and mount the bike, taking off at breakneck speed for a nearby alley that angles towards the police station. Wind whistles by your ears as you race between connecting alleyways until you spot a figure running your direction, looking over his shoulder for signs of pursuit. It's Key's prisoner. You bring the bike to a quick stop in the shadow of a reeking dumpster, waiting as the vampire's footsteps draw near your position. In a small shard of a broken mirror, you catch sight of another running figure, this one coming even faster as it pursues the fugitive. Camarilla or Sabat? We are the Camarilla. Yes. I don't think the Sabat come into this game at all, actually. It's kind of Camarilla and Anarchs. Does that mean I should be worried about Nosferatus in my toilet? Yeah, be careful. Next time you're sitting down, a little, gross, bubbly hand might be reaching up, trying to find its way out. Damn it, let me be an Ark. I'm sure you can. This game, Canada is full of Sabat. Is it really? At least in the books. Interesting. I know almost nothing about the Sabat, so... I think they do mention there's a city in Canada. In this game they mention it. That was overrun and kind of falling apart because of it. Horrified scream first thing in the morning. I tackle the fleeing vampire from the shadows. I let the prisoner go. I attack the fleeing vampire with an intent to destroy him. Between blowing up the warehouse and the jailbreak, he's broken the rules of the domain too many times. Plus, he's a breach of the masquerade waiting to happen. Should we just be a little unhinged? I don't know. If we are trying to romance Key, which you guys seem to want to do, we probably shouldn't kill him because he escaped from Key's custody, and if he escaped, that means they're not done with him yet. Yes, unhinged always. We served our time as a Camarilla lapdog. Yeah, I know. We could probably join the Anarchs in this game, but, Key is a Camarilla lapdog, so... Romance Peter, that's what I thought. I tackled the fleeing vampire, hoping to trip him. I could make an exception if I'm Key's lad. You leap out from your hiding place in the shadows and grab a hold of the fleeing gangrel, tackling him to the dirty pavement. His skin is slimy, and he smells awful enough that you're forced to suppress your still instinctive breathing. Because vampires don't have to breathe. It's just a habit they have left over from being a human. The creature wiggles in your grip. Wiggles, same thing. In your grip, like a greased eel, screeching incoherently as the figure following him gets closer. You raise your eyes from your captive, fully expecting to see one of Sheriff Key's muscle-bound deputies, but instead, you're greeted by the leering grin of Robert Ward. I forgot that part. My mistake. Emergency meeting. Oh dear. Bye-bye, Salem. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the assistance, Silas, he says, and a fire explodes within your chest as gunshot echoes throughout the alley. You fall back against the trash bin, splattering it with a smear of red as you collapse. Another shot follows, point blank, and you grit your teeth, nearly passing out from the pain. Ward pulls back a sawed-off shotgun and brandishes it at the whimpering Farrell as he grabs him by the neck. Don't worry, he grunts. You'll survive it. But picking out that buckshot's not going to be a good time. Your vision blurs, and Ward's body doubles as you try to get up. You'll be seeing more of us soon, Ward says with a laugh, as he marches the former prisoner away through the maze of alleys. Give my regards to Corliss. Oof! Was that the guy we shot in the face? Yes. Yes, that was. You blink, but your vision is blurred, smearing the light of a nearby street lamp across your line of sight. You try to stand and find yourself gently restrained. A familiar voice cuts through the ringing in your ears. Don't worry, Master. I'll help you get home. Gerard? How did your manservant find you in the alleyway? Gerard senses your question before you vocalize it. I was at the police station following up on the research you requested. Key's men found you here while they were chasing the Anarch and brought me to you. It's only been a few minutes, but we need to get you home quickly. The sun's nearly up. I'll be fine. Just let me stand. Gerard steps back at your direction. Of course, Master. You're looking better already. Sleep comes quickly. Sus Gerard. Yeah, I guess it could be a little sussy. He's one of my... I'd say that about everybody. This game's just very well written. I like Gerard. Sawed-off shotgun. Yeah, I completely forgot that. I did the exact same thing last time I played it too and still hit that same thing. Oof. Since the night of your embrace, dreams have largely eluded you as you slumber during the day in your coffin. Rare exceptions to this rule occur on days of particular import, as well as when you are recovering from physical trauma. I can still be suspicious. I mean, that's fair, yeah. It's simple to recognize the dream for what it is. As always, the confused dreamscape narrative is an unsolvable riddle, offering... as always, the confused dreamscape narrative is an unsolvable riddle, offering incoherent glimpses at your past life and the formative years of your undeath. It's a funny coincidence. That is true, yeah. Fragments of memory coalesce into a scene from the first year after your embrace. As your sire instructed you into the high society of the local Camarilla. It is a far from pleasant memory. Corliss had been a taskmaster, driving your learning with ruthless efficiency. She made it clear from your very first night, that the result of failure would be termination. As with any sire, Corliss favored particular lessons, pressing you to excel at very specific skills. Inducted, did I miss that? Oh, as your sire inducted you. Yes, not instructed. Inducted, thank you, D. D. Spoonie, Jesus. I'm sorry, you guys' usernames are the same color on my screen, so I just saw... I saw the D, and saw that it was yellow. Yeah, that's my bad. You're welcome. Yeah, thank you, D. Alright, so this is us choosing a bit more of the stats that we want. What do we already have? No strength, no stamina, but I feel like it's better to kind of min-max in this game. Charisma, manipulation, composure, so what are our options? I see visions of intense training in the art of navigating the pitfalls of kindred high society. Manipulation, charisma, wits. We already have all of those stats. Demontology an option. I don't think so. I don't think we can learn the occult. Might have been able to if we picked a different clan, but BRB making cookies. Oh, my hair is looking very shampoo commercial. Is it really? I think I didn't shampoo it today. Usually when I do, it falls even straighter. My butter. Oh dear. No occult? No bitches? I'll give you a compliment. You should thank you, Spoonie, to make up for it. I will. My bones ache from the remembrance of intense physical discipline. Corlys had trained me by the finest warriors. Strength, dex, stamina. We already have a bit of dex. Might be worth being a bit more physical. But we're a Malkavian. We're just unhinged. Oh, look at that. This one might be the best. I'll get to the other ones first, though. My focus in those early years was an intense battery of studies and lessons to understand both the world around me as well as kindred culture. Simply just mental. Or Corlys had a vested interest in training me as a spy. Who trains a spy that is mentally unstable? I don't know, maybe that's the better. I feel like an assassin, maybe, but... My training in spycraft was elaborate and multifaceted, lasting several years before I was deemed suitable for the task. Dexterity, manipulation, resolve. I think that's kind of the best option, I think. I said I think twice in that sentence. I want to go with that one. Why not? We are pretty stable. All we have is a figure that only we see. That's true. That's true. That's not bad for a spy, right? You just ignore the specter that always haunts you, and you can still sneak around without much of an issue. You will learn not only how to blend in with the shadows, Corlys says, but how to blend in with a crowd. Focus and social engineering are as integral to a spy's toolkit as the ability to move about unseen. Even though they were said decades ago, in the dream your sire's words rang as clearly as they had the first day you'd heard them. Say what you will about Eden Corlys, and there are a great many things to say, both good and bad. But she hadn't kicked you out of the nest without preparing you for an undead life among the deadliest, most manipulative creatures in existence. No, it was more than that. She hadn't simply prepared you to survive their constant tests and political attacks. She made you one of them. Did she see you going soft as you languished alongside the Ivory Tower elites? Is that why she sent you out to fight against Robert Ward and his band of anarchs after years spent in the safety of her care and your extravagant haven? You twist uncomfortably in your coffin as you remember the early days when you were required to procure your own meals. Stock mortals drown out their fear in screams as blood surged through your body in a heady euphoria of revitalization. You've grown complacent, docile. The predator had been stripped from you. But now, you're awake again. And you're hungry. Chapter 3, Collusion. So as Malkavian, do you have a flaw, and what is it? Yeah. I mean, the Malkavians, I think according to the books, their flaw is insanity, which can take a multitude of forms. I don't know how much you know about the Malkavians, so I don't want to over-explain. But in this game, it takes a lot. Okay. Yeah, so in this game, our flaw takes the form of a specter that haunts us, and we don't know if it is an actual ghost that is actually haunting us, or if it is just a hallucination that we have. But there is a character that we were able to kind of customize, so we named it Fade, that is kind of always lingering and lurking about, and is very sassy and comments on like everything we do. Our feature's crazy. Yeah, no. So the rest of us seems to be pretty normal, aside from our constant visitor. Seems to be. This is still, I don't know, very early on in the game. Only the beginning of Chapter 3 of probably like 13? Don't know. You rouse early. Dreams of Corlys and your embrace, lingering for a moment. I played the vision novels. There's a possible Malkavian ally. They're both very intelligent and a bit nuts. Yeah, that describes Malkavians pretty well. Dreams of Corliss in your embrace, lingering for a moment, then fading, as dreams so often do. Your early training as a neonate is something you rarely think about. Agelessness as a way of stretching memory thin. A phenomenon you've noted in aging mortals as well, at least to a lesser degree. It occurs to you that in those waking moments you can no longer recall the precise circumstance of your embrace. There was trauma in it, as there always is, given the nature of the act, and sometimes you swear you can still feel her fangs pressed against your neck. Supple flesh flexing, parting, and then the rush of being taken. The seething remnants of your humanity bred a hatred for Corliss at first, forcing you into her world and not only demanding obedience, but perfection. Has your opinion on the matter changed in the years since? Do we like Corliss, or are we still a little bit upsetty spaghetti that, she decided, without talking to us first, that we were going to be her tool? Hey, thanks for the follow. Sneaky snatcher. Her training was harsh but worth it. I'd have met final death years ago. She did what was necessary, and I hold no ill will over it. My treatment at Corliss's hands was unnecessarily cruel. There's a fine line between strengthening a soul and beating it into submission. Maybe. She did what she needed to, and I'm thankful for her every day to the gift of undeath that she just bestowed upon me. That one's a little bit of a suck-up, I don't know. There's a part of me that will never forgive her for what she did. I disguise my disdain for her out of practical necessity. Hope was an Alcavian's name. She had hundreds of online... Oh, I think you mentioned this, actually. Yeah. Practical necessary, yes. Necessity. It was practical necessary. It what? I'm leaning towards the first one. We've already kind of... I don't know. Gone down the path of liking Corliss a little bit. Kind of picked her side. I already typed the asterisks. You like it, the first one? Yeah. I think the second one is true, but it doesn't have an option for... It is what it is. That's kind of what I want to pick, right? Like, yeah, it was not okay at the moment, but it's been decades. That's just kind of what the past is. Life's gotten a little better. I'll go with the first one, though, for now. You like the fourth one? Yeah. Radical acceptance. Yeah. Yeah, that is right. Like, I mean, we had no choice. It is rough that right, despite bringing us into the vampire world without, I don't know, even meeting her beforehand, she then, as this says, demanding not only obedience but perfection. We'll go with the first one though for now. For now, as if we can change it. Rise and shine, Fade says, appearing beside you in the bedroom mirror. He's back to wearing his occult robe again. At least something's right in the world. Where did you go last night, you ask? Where do I ever go when you stop thinking about me? You shake your head. If I knew that, I wouldn't be asking you? I don't know any more than you do, remember? How many times are we going to have this conversation? I can't answer something that you don't already know yourself. You shake your head. But you tell me things I don't know all the time. Of course I do. But you just said... You know what? Never mind. You're right. We've had this conversation before. Fade nods. And we'll have it again. Ignore Fade, the only button. According to the books, most Malkavians are made and left there on their own, so you're lucky to have your side at all. Really? I knew that was the case with The Nosferatu. I didn't know that was the case with Malkavians. I guess if they're just completely unhinged, they might, I don't know, think it's the right thing to do, not think otherwise of it, forget you exist at all. I thought that's a way that the newly embraced would be killed. Yeah, abandoning your new child is usually seen as a big bad thing in the Camarilla, because it's kind of just like a masquerade breach waiting to happen. So it looks bad for you, and it looks like death for them. You as in if you're the sire. Them being the person that just got embraced. When you finally manage to dress and leave your inner chamber, you find Gerard stationed behind a nearby desk, as he always is at nightfall, ready to serve you. It's pleasing to know that even in the midst of all this upheaval, you can still count on someone to be consistent and dependable. Both sire and child to be killed. I don't know about that. That probably very much depends on the court. Maybe the sire would just be like, I don't know, chastised for it, punished, told off. But from what I remember, there's a lot of instances where, yeah, the child would be removed. Yeah, it probably depends on who the prince is. Like Leto. I'm sure he would be okay with it, but also, I don't know, demand somebody mentor you. When you finally manage to dress. Yeah, made without permission, depending on the court as well. That is, I think that's one of the major tenets of, the Camarilla, is that you have to have permission to embrace somebody. So that very much depends on the prince as well, but usually that is a big bad to do. When you finally manage to dress and leave your... Oh yes, we already read that. Good evening, master, he says as you enter the room. There's a slight edge to his voice, and you're uncertain what it signifies. Your sire had one of her men drop a vessel off this evening for feeding at your leisure. He's young, trust fund child, or something of that nature. I believe he indulged in alcohol at a local club, so be certain you're prepared for the effects. I'll be sure that he's home safe by sunup. Yeah, because when you drink from somebody, you won't get drunk yourself, but I don't know, it's in their bloodstream. You get a little bit of that. They brought me an alcoholic, you grunt. I might need to wait on that. I need to keep my mind clear. Gerard shakes his head. Not an alcoholic, no. I simply wish to warn you that he had been drinking. In fact, I believe you may find the blood quite pleasant. It's probably Pabst Blue. Oh, I just inhaled my hair. Oh, is that as popular up there as well? That's very funny. Thank you, Gerard, I say simply. Is there something else I should know? I swear I saw something in his eyes just now. Above and beyond as always, Gerard. What else is on the agenda? I feel like that's a bit of a nicer way. Kind of give him an opportunity to tell us first before we question him. Dodging people with blood diseases. Yeah, you won't get, if they have a disease that is contractable through blood or bodily fluids, I don't think the vampire, like... I mean, you're not stuck with a disease, but I think I remember in the last game, a vampire, like, got an STD by drinking from somebody that had one, and they had a bit of an effect. There have been cases of vampires getting HIV. But I thought the vampires can recover, like, it eventually gets out of their system. They're not... It's not like the same death sentence as having AIDS as a human. I know you can, because, yeah, even in the last game, somebody got, like, I don't know, boils on their face or something for a week or two, because they drank from somebody with a disease. Not to mention sepsis. They can carry it. Really? Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Gerard clears his throat uncomfortably. There's one more thing, I'm afraid. I'm terribly sorry to bother you with this, but a messenger from Sheriff Key arrived just before you awoke to request an audience. You nearly curse, knowing that such an audience should not be refused. The request is merely a formality, and the fact that it came first thing in the night hardly bodes well. Used to play Tabletop Live. Oh, that's awesome. I've only played a little bit. I've read through the whole big rulebook and everything, and I've poked around a lot with a lot of the lore, and I've played a lot of games like this, but I only played a few weeks of like the actual game. We'll see. I'm determined to convince my D&D party to try it once we're done with our campaign, but knowing D&D campaigns, that might be like in 5 years. So until then, it'll just be my own little, I don't know, passion research on the side. Doesn't even have to be like the usual ones. Yeah, interesting. Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk what? Or do you mean just like in general? Ah. This isn't the kind of visit I want to deal with first thing after waking up. I'm no fan of Key's ruthless efficiency. I don't know, nothing wrong with ruthless efficiency, right? And we like Key. We gotta... I don't begrudge Key for doing his job. He's probably just following up after the raid. No need to be overly concerned. Imagine high blood sugar. Ugh, it's like syrup. Yeah, I imagine it would be. His dark, terrible backstory. But I only have a little bit longer, so I'll get on with the game. I've always gotten along well with Key. Oh, that's even better than the previous one. I'd rather really not deal with this, but I respect Key's tenacity. No, I've always gotten along well with Key. We've seen eye to eye in more than one location. We've developed a mutual respect. Let's go with that. You check your appearance over in a tall mirror back in your room. I only have like 15 more minutes, so I'll try to get through this quickly. But this might be the last page, we'll see. Emerging slightly better groomed, even if your budding anxiety remains unsoothed. Before you attend the good sheriff, Gerard says, I have some news on the information you requested the other night. Oh? Thank you, Gerard. In all honesty, you'd forgotten about your request after last night's escapades. Of course, Master. I spent a good portion of the previous day on research and a few discreet questions to relevant parties. I believe I may have something of interest to you. Never prepared for anything. Oh, rip. Oh, that's very sad. Stop the session to look stuff up. That's, yeah, I don't want to fall into that pitfall. I want to try to come prepared. But also it's, I don't know, it's a lot of work. But yeah, Curse of Strahd is definitely, there's so much in it that it's definitely the kind of campaign that I think you need to, as a DM, take notes and come prepared ahead of time and like try to anticipate where the party could go. Because the book is, it's just so kind of unruly to sort through. You incline your head in acknowledgement. He lowers his voice to a whisper. I've leveraged my contacts at the police station to obtain copies of the paperwork relevant to the warehouse investigation, as per your request. So this is, I think, he's either trying to explain why, or this is actually why he was at the police station at the same time we were. It seems that the human police force was held back from performing a full inspection, but I haven't yet been able to puzzle out why. I've been developing some contacts in the police department, but I have to use a soft touch unless you want other kindred to know you're snooping around, especially when the sheriff himself is sitting in your foyer. Specific details will take me at least another day if you wish for the investigation to continue. Otherwise, I can be about other tasks for you. I want you to keep investigating this police cover-up. It could be standard procedure, but my gut tells me there's more than it seems. I'd like you to do background research on the construction site. Let me know if any other kindred. Find out if anything has been large sales of explosives. Look into any history the anarch Robert Ward has had with my sire. That could be good. Soft touch, What do you guys think? Should he keep investigating, or do we want to investigate the last one? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? Something's going on between our sire and this fucking Robert Ward guy. Let's go with the last one. Gerard nods, and you're sure he'd already anticipated your request. Very good, Master. It shouldn't be more than a night, maybe 2, for me to get you something useful. Thank you, Gerard. He returns to his desk and sweeps a handful of papers into a dark leather briefcase. I should be about my business, so you can get back to yours. He almost cracks a smile at your unconscious grimace. Best of luck with the sheriff. Fade watches Gerard and grumbles. Easy for him to say. If he was facing the sheriff alone, he'd be crapping his pants. There he is, Sheriff Key. I like the little blood dribble he's got. The first thing that strikes anyone upon meeting Sheriff Key for the first time is that he's a very tall man. So they actually just based this off of the Arrest Me, Sheriff. If one were prone to exaggeration, they could say that his head all but scraped the ceiling, and in Key's case, the impression might be accurate, if not the actual truth of the matter. He has a face, his face has a stately, angular look to it, neither unpleasant to the eye, nor what some would call conventionally attractive. In fact, if he didn't possess both his height and commanding presence, he would likely fade into the background of any room he occupied. You have it on good authority that his long, dark hair hides a weeping, red scar from his embrace, wrapping sinuously beneath his right ear and down his neck. A vein streak unusual for a Nosferatu encourages him to keep it hidden. 2 sharply dressed attachees stand behind him in the entranceway. Those kindred first meeting the sheriff might have been forgiven for the disbelief regarding Key's clan, considering his distinct lack of many typical disfigurements. In fact, Ottawa's rumor mill is rife with speculation. Some say he turned in a favor owned by an ancient flesh crafter, while others suggest he benefits from powerful blood sorcery. The truth is known only to a select few, and you don't number among them. Steele did try to be a cop at one point. Really? That's very funny. I appreciate you taking the time to see me, Key says, slender fingers twitching at his side unconsciously. You declined to mention that you had little choice in the matter. I intend to seek counsel from your sire tonight, he says, his eyes flicking to Gerard, then back to you. But Corliss's servants have been giving my messengers the runaround since I instructed them to set up the meeting. I understand she's a busy woman, but Arundel would never have... His eyes flicked to Gerard again. I'm sorry, but could you send the help away? This conversation isn't for mortal ears. Gerard is my most trusted counsel. What you wish to say to me can be said in front of him without fear. I wave away Gerard. There's no point antagonizing the sheriff. I apologize for not dismissing Gerard sooner. It must have slipped my mind. My manservant will act as a neutral party for the purposes of this interview. I can assure you of his discretion. I kind of want to go with the first one. That's what I did last time. I just like Gerard. No trouble seeing you, Key. The only shit. Why not? Why not? I like Gerard. Boop. Key twitches. And for a moment, it looks like he may insist, but instead, he shakes his head, relenting. Of course, I will defer to your judgment in your haven. If the ghoul is to be trusted, so be it. Gerard bristles at the slur, and Key pretends not to notice. You were saying, you prompt him back to the original course of discussion. about my sire granting you an audience. Yes, of course. But truthfully, that's of little actual importance. I could force the issue if necessary, but I'm certain she will see me in good time. No. The reason I'm here is to follow up on the events of the past 2 nights. The part you played in one of them is of particular interest to me. I fucked that up. The part you played in them is of particular interest to me. Gerard has been reliable. Yeah, right. He knows about our little specter. I trust him. I have come back, Papa. Welcome back. I'm probably only going to be on another 5 minutes. Although I have the disgusting itch to play a little bit of cock-a-doodle before I hop off. Might do that on stream, might not, I don't know. Your skin crawls. It's rarely a good sign when a sheriff feels the need to personally investigate kindred in his prince's own domain. Not servants, not underlings, a personal visit. Punishing anarchs is one thing, but if he suspects foul play on your part... Of course, you reply with all the calm you can muster. Anything I can do to help. Excellent, Key says. I'll get right to it then. When we confronted Ward during the blood hunt, he went after you first. I'd go as far to say he picked you out of the group specifically. He then took the time to throw you free of the building before the explosion. It's been suggested to me that he may have done this on purpose to spare you from the fire. Oh! I hadn't actually thought about that. That's ridiculous. The fall nearly sent me over the edge and I was almost impaled. Honestly, I got that impression too. But I can't imagine what he'd want with me. I've never even met him in person before. Who's been suggesting such things? I may have been thrown clear, but I came back to help despite the flames. Is this really why you came to my haven, to throw around unfounded accusations? It's entirely possible that he picked me at random. Before I knew it, I was dangling off the floor, rather embarrassingly. I did not get that impression. However, the second 2 sentences are more true than any of the other ones, I think. And I feel like it's the politest to Key. Nosferatu's, well, at least Bouchard, at least appreciates very straightforward honesty. They usually do not play the game of politics as much. Little sewer rats. So I'll go with this one just because I agree with the other 2 statements. That's a that is a refreshingly honest-sounding answer, Key says, some of the edge gone from his voice. Rest assured that I believe you. I did some background checking, you understand. Standard procedure, cross-referencing you with the Anarchs who recently left the Camarilla. Fortunately, seems that you and Mr. Ward have little to no history together. You nod, unsure what he expects you to say. Being overly defensive seems as though it would be unwise, but perhaps silence in of itself could have been conspicuous. Maybe the straightforward truth is the way to go for now. Ward couldn't have known I'd survived the attack, you say. The construction site was covered in exposed rebar, and any one of them could have impaled me, leaving me stuck in the blast radius. As it was, I lost so much blood I could barely keep myself from moving. It's interesting you should mention that, Key says, interrupting you. Fuck it. Close enough to what it actually says. The police found a pair of bodies outside the warehouse, torn apart by what looked like an animal. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? Reflesh. Well, yeah, actually, He already has me dead to rights, so I acknowledge that it was me. No excuses. Yeah, why not? Yes. I would have died if I didn't. I'm sorry. No BS, eh? Key says. I think I could get to like you, Silas. It's refreshing to not have to dance around the point a dozen times to get to the meat of the matter. I recognize it's been many years since you've been in the field, and you may be unaccustomed to making quick decisions. If something similar happens again, make sure to do something about the bodies. Luckily, I had the situation tightly locked down and under control. In different circumstances, we could get the wrong people asking questions, and that's not something I want to be dealing with, considering everything else on my plate at the moment. He sighs. Yeah. Which brings me to the events of last night, when Ward attacked me on my own turf. I'm sure if you've heard by now, the gangrel prisoner we took during the hunt was freed. Though from what little I was able to squeeze out of him in the short time we had together, it seems like he was more afraid of Ward than he was of me. I need to find the ones responsible for this, Silas. I don't care if the pectorals? What? Perpetrators? Perpetrators? Oh god, perpetrators. Oh dear. That's what that word is. Yes, the perpetrators. Wow. I don't know why I didn't recognize that. Yeah, that's a word. Perpetrators. Perpetractors. Fuck. Perpetrator. That's such a common word. I've heard that 100 times. I've read it 100 times. Well, there's no C in between this A and the T. Perpetrators. The perpetrators. I don't care if the perpetrators were licks or mortals. I'll catch them eventually. I don't care if the perpetrators were John Deere or not. I'll finish this page and then I'll be done. Or maybe try to speed through this. Pulling the long hours to edit that. Oh dear. You keep your face neutral while acknowledging him with a nod. Members of my elite squad found you bleeding out in an alley. They were chasing the prisoner. They seemed certain Ward attacked you. You nod. There's no purpose in denying it. So, it was Key's men that did find us. Gerard was telling the truth there. You nod. There's no purpose in denying it. They brought Gerard to me. Your retainer, yes. I hope you understand why we couldn't bring you back to our haven, to your haven yourselves. Well, okay. So Gerard was telling the truth then, about at least what happened. It was very worth it. Yeah, I don't blame you at all, Key. There are obvious priorities in play, and your squad still managed to find me some help, right? Could have died. You did save my life, I suppose. Yeah. Key nods, a look of genuine appreciation on his face. Some might have taken it as a slight. I'm glad my pragmatism hasn't caused undue stress between us. So what exactly happened in that alley? What did you see? Alright, I'll try to finish up this conversation. I like this game so much. I tell the truth. Right? Right? We've been telling the truth the entire time. Tried to catch the gangrel as he fled, but Ward was right behind me and he caught me off guard. Was right behind him. Not behind me. So it was Ward that shot you. Interesting. And he didn't take the time to finish you off either. Key leans forward. What'd you notice about the Pharaoh's demeanor? Obviously, he was running for his own life, but what was he running from? Me? Or Ward? I didn't know it was Ward in pursuit until the very last minute, so the Pharaoh might not have known either. He looked terrified when Ward caught up. I wouldn't be surprised if he was just as afraid of Ward as he was of you. Might be true. Honest for Key. Both? Yeah. I mean, the top one is kind of both. That might be true, right? He looked terrified when Ward caught up, but we really don't know. There's no, yeah. It's hard to say. Just as I expected, Key mutters. Robert has grown cold since he defected. The Anarchs claim to all be about peace and unity, but when you strip away the BS, they're only interested in tearing down order and ruling by fear. He growls, unconsciously. But I guess we won't know for sure, unless we see the prisoner again. Or I get Ward to confess. Is there anything else I can help you with? You ask politely. There is one thing. Just a moment. He turns to his attaches and gestures to the door. A little privacy, please. Sir? One of them replies, surprise evident on his face. You gave us explicit orders. And now I'm updating you. I won't be long. Both men leave without another word. I almost said Ward. Robert Ward. Ugh. Disappearing out of your front door and closing it softly behind them. Fade watches intently from the corner room. This could be interesting. Key looks over at Gerard. I know we've already covered this, but I must ask you to dismiss your servant for the moment. I mean, no disrespect. You're about to reaffirm your earlier decision when Gerard cuts in. It's quite all right, Master. I'll go have a discussion with the other gentlemen outside and make certain there's no ears to accidentally find their way to the door. Thank you, Gerard. Now, Key says, his eyes shifting about your home. He looks almost nervous. Attaches. But they're like attached. Attaches. Really? Is that how it's said? Attaches. Interesting. Oh well. I like attaches. I think it makes sense in my mind. Let's talk about your sire. Attaché. Attaché. Attache. Like Apache. Why would you want to talk about Corliss with me? You ask, instantly wary. You can't imagine this will turn out well, regardless of the answers you give. Sometimes in law enforcement, you need to take a leap of faith. Key replies. You've been forthcoming during our interview, and that warrants a degree of transparency from me as well. So I don't think this interaction happens if you don't earn his trust. There's no need to be nervous. I sent the witnesses out of the room for a reason. Although, perhaps both of us should be mindful of the words we choose. Physical proximity is not the only way to overhear a conversation. What did you want to discuss? Straight to the point then, Key says. Fair enough. I'm sure you're aware by now that Corliss is under investigation by most, if not all, of the powerful kindred remaining in Ottawa. Truth be told, it's worse than that. There's no lack of opportunistic licks interested in moving on contested seat of power to claim praxis. She may have alluded to that possibility. You reply uncomfortably. What is he getting at exactly? It's an open secret that Eden was upset by Prince Arundel's admittance of the Banu Hakim into the city. She was angered even further after the majority of the Tremere left in protest. Corliss has close ties to the Primogen Lang, and the other warlocks come hand in hand. Her public disagreement was notable. After all, she was given her position after defending Prince from traditionalists openly opposed his welcoming the Bruja and Gangrel clans into Ottawa. So she favored the rabble over the Banu Hakim. It's an unusual sentiment in Ottawa, but not something I'd consider untoward. What does this have to do with me? Kindred disagree all the times. Why is this notable? What are you suggesting? I like that one. What are you suggesting, Key? It's French, not an attack helicopter. Are you sure? I've heard a number of whispers dating back years suggesting that Corlys supported the rabble merely out of convenience to rise into a position of power. These are not rumors I support, mind you, but we ignore such whispers at our own peril. You should know that the tide is turning against your sire, and some powerful kindred are moving against her at this very moment. Why are you telling me this? Because you are in an unfortunate position. And while I believe you want the best for the Camarilla, there will be those who would lump you and Luca in with Eden if you remain politically neutral, simply for being her childer. You can do whatever you want with this knowledge, but you'll need to choose your side carefully. Your continued existence depends on it. Key is obviously fishing for something. As sheriff, he earned his position through strength and support for Arundel, but his political maneuvering isn't exactly subtle. Of course, this doesn't mean your response is a simple decision to make. He could be testing your allegiance to Corlys just as easily as he could be looking for an ally to help him take her down. All you know for sure is that loyalty to the prince has been... All you know for sure is that his loyalty to the prince has been unwavering. But Corlys is not a prince. Yet. Maybe that's where we should leave it for now. Kind of on a little bit of a cliffhanger. And when we come back next time, we will have to decide, I guess right here and now, are we pro Corlys or are we against Corlys? That was what the game kind of broke down to last time I played it as well. But it is getting late. I have things that I got to do with my day. So I will have to stop there. But I gotta go. Was a good time. Hopefully this will... Yeah. Oh, I fucking love Baldur's Gate. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later.